Cress Welsing. Dr. Welsing, I wanted to say that most admire your work, and I'm not the only one, of course, that admires your work. There's, in the record industry, there's many groups in the rap industry, because, rap is very big,
Yes.
right now. Years ago, they didn't think rap was going to be big. Matter of fact, a lot of the so-called officials in the record industry say, well, it ain't nothing. This is a flash in the pan.
Mm-hmm.
But rap has become very big, so much so now that you see white rap artists also, getting into the picture. How?
Yes.
And you've had a lot of influence on rappers such as Public Enemy. I mean, Public Enemy has really put the message. As I remember, there's a record company out of Philadelphia that says their motto is "There's a message in our music," and I think they've definitely have done that. Would you respond to that?
Well, Public Enemy, when they did Fear the Black Planet, there was apparently a lot of discussion. I did not know the young people, didn't know any rappers. And people, calling me from all over newspapers. Well, how did Public Enemy, how do they know about you? Or how were you involved with them? Well, I wasn't involved, but the young people apparently read the Cress-theory.
They picked up on it.
And they have informed me that that's where the title, Fear the Black Planet, meaning fear of white genetic annihilation, that would be how I would interpret it. So that's where...
that lets you know that the message is getting out there. And if young people can pick that up and put that on to the ribbon and music and rhyme.
You see, well, what was fascinating to me was that people didn't say this is interesting in a positive way. This is interesting in a negative, that this is something
they say
to suppress. This is my impression from some of the things that newspapers that called me were indicating. Certainly for me it was a positive thing, because since black people are particular victims of racism, white supremacy, that older black people and younger black people need to understand this so that they can function more effectively in the society and in the world, understanding what the dynamic of forces are that impact on their lives, that everybody should want that for children or young people to understand, because I maintain that black people, many times we greet each other by saying what's happening because we haven't understood what was going on. And so we're constantly raising the question now, when young black people begin to understand, that should be cause for rejoicing, not lamenting.
But when you're on the other side of the board.
When you're on the other side of the board, right, if somebody playing the white side of the chessboard is in fear that they may be overpowered by the black side of the chessboard, they might try to confuse the person playing that side of the board as to where, what particular opening and what particular strategy and tactics are being employed.
I've often had people say to me, white and black, that I'm militant. My writing, you're so militant, you're so straightforward, And to me, it's normal. I don't see it as being militant at all.
Well, again, you see, if you understand power structures, and that's why the game of chess is so very important, because everything is related to power, and the construct of power, and the maintenance of power, and the refinement of power. And so that in a construct, do you see, of white power and the oppression of non-white, then the victim is supposed to be, like a slave, not reason, not think, not speak up. And so if you speak up about the construct of power, there's a chance that you may be labeled militant or irresponsible, or what's the favorite word, controversial.
Yes.
Do you see? But those labels
I'm sure they put those labels
come about. On you. Well, I've heard some of those labels before, but it has nothing to do with the bigger issue of solving the problem of injustice or the degradation of the large number of human beings on the planet.
I'm glad you said it, because as an artist, many people have said that type of thing to me, that I ought to write about the birds and the bees and nature poetry. I have nothing against nature poetry at all. I love it. But I want to deal with many other different things, many different types of things. I want to deal with real problems. I don't like writing about something off on the tangent when nobody knows what you're really talking about.
Well, sometimes, I know in my practice of psychiatry, sometimes you have to help patients understand if it's a big white elephant sitting in the middle of the room. You don't talk around the edge of the elephant and not talk about the presence of the elephant. Do you see? But sometimes it is frightening or disturbing for people to deal with reality. But I was told when I trained as a psychiatrist, the role of the psychiatrist is to help people deal with reality, even when they are afraid and believe that they cannot deal with that reality, because there cannot be any mental health functioning by ignoring reality or distorting reality. Indeed, we call people psychotic who cannot deal with reality,
Mm-hmm.
Who have to call fire roses. Do you see? So somebody wants you to write about roses when there's a fire. But you persist in talking about the fire, because if you don't talk about the fire, everybody gets burned up.
It's just like it's kind of like it's a part of me. I feel like it's something that I've always wanted to do. When I was in school, even before I went to college, I always knew what I wanted to do. I always wanted to write.
Okay.
So I make sacrifices so I can do that. So I can write.
Well, that's very important. See, that's like a manifestation of self-respect. You feel something inside, and you persist knowing that your purpose on the planet is to do that particular thing.
And that's exactly how I feel. So I move on that. And I don't look for family and friends to support me. It's nice they did, but I have to know it for myself. This is what I'm here to do, and I'm going to do this. And I'm use the art form to do it.
Do you see? I say that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Also, I wanted to ask concerning children. There's an epidemic, I understand, in South Carolina, where there's an epidemic of deficiency in children's.
Well, you mean attention deficit disorder?
Deficit disorder. Can you speak on that? Because a friend of mine was asking about that, and I didn't really understand. And the situation is that there's a young child who's in school, a student in school, and they want to put him on this medication.
Well, one could look across the country and see situations in which non-white children, whether they're black or Hispanic, someone is saying, well, they're hyperactive, they're too active. Put them on medication. Sometimes that is related to teachers, non-black teachers who are not tuned into and deeply caring for non-white children. And so the very activity, they don't know how to relate to the children in order to help the children, calm down and settle down and to do their work. But it's been my experience that sometimes a child that will be labeled as hyperactive, do you see, by a non-black person, the parents don't see the child, no one sees the child as being